Right, Shalom. First, I'd like to give all praises unto Yahawah Ba'Hasham Yahawashi, and double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and honors to you brothers out there in the highways and the byways teaching this word in all sincerity and in truth. Now, I want to respond to this comment by Eddie, so let's get into it. It says, I'm Roman Catholic, which is a fail straight away. Okay, that's a completely discredited institution. Hundreds and hundreds of years of malpractice, discredited. Yeah, no light, done through. But hey, you want to publicly declare you're an asshole? Do it. I'm Roman Catholic, so you're partially right in that sense. The time frame for the Old Testament was relevant to the Jews of that time, where they experienced prophecies within less than a century or a generation. So what he's trying to do here is trying to make it look. See, you have let's look at the word Old Testament. The Old Testament itself, right, was the covenant which was made between the Most High and Israel, and Moses was the mediator, and that's recorded in Exodus 24th chapter. The details of that covenant is the law, right? And the law is found in the Torah. It's found in basically it's found in Exodus, right? It's found in Deuteronomy. It's found in Leviticus, right? The book of the covenant, the books that detail the agreement which was made between the Most High and the seed of Jacob. Exodus 24:7. And he took the book of the covenant and read in the audience of the people, and they said, all that the Lord hath said we will do and be obedient. And Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people and said, behold the blood of the covenant which the Lord hath made with you concerning all these words. That's the Old Testament. The Old Testament is this act, and the details of that testament are found in what was known as the law, which represents the first 5 books of Moses. And the first 5 books of Moses, even though they contain the laws, also contains prophecies. It also contains history, but it also contains the law, the details of the first covenant. Isaiah, Jeremiah, all these books really have nothing to do with the covenant. These are books which you got the law, which has the law. Then you got the prophets, which details history, prophecies. All right, wisdom. Right. What's happened today is what they've done is the New Testament came in with Yahawashi. Yahawashi came to bring the New Testament, which is still with Israel. And this time the New Testament has been sealed with the blood of Yahawashi. And he's going to enter us into that New Testament. So, what's happened is, what they did was they said any book which was prior to Yahawashi, we'll call that the Old Testament, and we'll call the books written during the time, or shall I say after Yahawashi had been resurrected, we'll call those books the New Testament. And what they try and do, they try and play off these terms and make it look like, so that means Isaiah, Jeremiah, that's old and finished with, and more, or illegitimate or irrelevant as compared to the writings of the New Testament, which is erroneous. It's all the word of the Heavenly Father. Prophecy is prophecy. Yeah? Wisdom is wisdom. The knowledge, the word of the Lord is the word of the Lord, and it's all relevant. The whole book. Yeah? Now that that's been said, what he's trying to do here is by saying the time frame for Old Testament was relevant to the Jews at the time. Yes, there are many prophecies in the so-called Old Testament, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, which were spoken that came to pass within a century or within a generation of the time when the prophet spoke them. But there are also many prophecies which didn't come to pass for many generations and many thousands of years. So you can't use this argument to disannul the prophecies. Because you don't want to deal with the prophecies. You're trying to say, well, that's the Old Testament. The prophecies are all being fulfilled. No, they haven't. Because the faith of the saints in the New Testament was directly linked to that which was written aforetime. They were looking towards the fulfillment of that which had already been spoken. Yahawah is the author and finisher of our faith, and his work is that which was already written, which was the salvation of Israel and the kingdom of heaven. That's why the church of Berea was counted noble, because the things that Paul taught, they searched the scriptures, i.e. the law and the prophets, to see if the things that Paul said was true, because it has to line up with what was written aforetime, the prophecies, which it does. Alright? That's why the New Testament is filled with verbal parallels and allusions and direct quotes from the law and the prophets, because it's all one and the same. It's the word of the Lord, which is constant. Alright? So, that being said, what I'm going to show you is Moses himself, in the book of the covenant, prophesied to Israel, the tribes, of their entire existence on this earth up until the time when they would be delivered into the kingdom of heaven. And I'm going to show you that. Showing you that this guy don't know what he's talking about when he's saying that the prophecies weren't for thousands of years in the future, which would absolutely useless to its context, although there is a second coming, because he had to admit, they have to admit that second coming is in the prophecies. But when it comes to Esau being destroyed and all these other prophecies, they want to say, well, that's already been done. No, it hasn't. Alright, that's a lie. When we go to Deuteronomy, the 30th chapter, which, by the way, this ideology is just another offshoot of Christian pride. It goes into preterism. The brother GMS Vegas sit-downs, he put me onto this, and Lord will, I'm going to get more into this information, and we're going to tear this down. Alright? Deuteronomy 30:1. Now, this is Moses speaking to the children of Israel in the time of Moses. This is before they even entered into the promised land, which we know they did. It says, Deuteronomy 30:1, and it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse. So the Lord, through Moses, was prophesying to Israel that there would be a time when they would be blessed, i.e. the time of King Solomon, and there would be a time when they would fulfill all the curses that the Lord spoke of in Deuteronomy the 20th chapter, which I have set before thee. Now, did these curses not play out over time period, over thousands of years? Is not Israel even still under these curses thousands of years later to this very day? Didn't Daniel say thousands of years later, alright, or, well, wouldn't say thousands, but hundreds and hundreds of years later, that they were under the curses in Babylon that Moses spoke about? But you said it was only, he said it's in the same century, showing you these guys are clowns, right? They were under the curses in Babylon, they were under the curses in Rome. We still under the curses now, because we're not in our kingdom. We've not been delivered. The Lord set the foundation to deliver us from the curses, but we're still under the curses until he comes to complete the deliverance. It says, which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all nations whither the Lord God, thy God hath driven thee. Now, the Lord hadn't driven Israel among the nations at that time. Even going fast forward into the future, Israel only really began to be scattered, beginning with the Assyrian and Babylonian captivities. And the scattering continued throughout the ages. And this is Moses telling them, this is what was going to happen. And shalt return unto the Lord thy God, and shalt obey his voice, according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children with all thine heart, and with all thy soul. Right, because of reincarnation, it was going to be them and their children in the future. Now hold on, that hasn't happened yet. Israel hasn't returned to the Most High and kept all of the commandments. Yeah? That then the Lord, that's going to happen through the Messiah. Then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all nations whither the Lord thy God have scattered thee. That hasn't happened yet. The Lord hasn't gathered the Israelites from all the nations that he scattered them. That's what the Messiah is going to do. That's why it is written of the Messiah that he shall come and gather together the elect from the four corners of the earth. Because the Messiah is the one who's going to gather Israel together from the four corners of the earth. And through the Messiah is how Israel is going to return to the Lord and obey his voice concerning all the commandments, because the New Testament is going to be instituted where the commandments are going to be written in the hearts of all the Israelites. And as it is written in the book of Isaiah, my people shall be all righteous. Don't play games with us, bro. We know these scriptures. We're the kings of eschatology because the Lord has put the spirit of prophecy upon us, man. We understand the prophecies. Yeah? The Catholic Church don't understand prophecy. Alright? The Lord revealeth his secret to the prophets, man. And the Catholic Church ain't never had no prophets. Only false prophets. Don't play games up here. That's why you guys just want to, yeah, it's been fulfilled. Because you can't go into the prophecies. You can't link the prophecies up. Because if you do, your whole doctrine is destroyed. It says, if any of thine be driven out unto the outmost parts of the heaven, like the lost sheep of Israel, scattered. Yeah? That's why Yahawah said he came for the lost sheep of Israel. That's why it was written in John the 11th chapter that you had children of God which were scattered abroad. Y'all don't know. You don't know. You don't know what to do. Right? You easy work. Okay? We know these scriptures, man. And that's how we know that we're the Israelites. Because if we weren't the Israelites, the Lord wouldn't have revealed these things unto us. It says, and the Lord thy God will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it, and he will do thee good, and multiply thee above thy fathers. Has that happened yet? No. The Lord himself has not brought us into the land of Israel and multiplied the Israelites above their fathers. And that goes into Ezekiel the 36th chapter, where the Lord said that the land is going to be even better than it was in the beginning. Has that happened? No. Stop playing games. And when the Lord said in Ezekiel that all 12 tribes are going to come back together. He's bringing all 12 tribes back when he brings Israel back to the land of Israel. And King David is going to be king over them. That hasn't happened yet, my man. And it's been thousands of years. So shut your mouth. And the Lord thy God will circumcise thine heart. This is the New Testament. This is the New Testament being prophesied in Deuteronomy. And the New Testament hasn't been established yet. The Lord made the sacrifice, but it hasn't been established yet on earth. How do we know that? Because we don't have the laws written in our minds yet. That's going to happen when the Lord comes. He made the sacrifice already to enter us into that. And the Lord thy God will circumcise thine heart and the heart of thy seed. So that straight away, that excludes anyone who is not of the seed. Cut. That's why you don't want to deal with these prophecies. To love the Lord thy God with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. And then what's the Lord going to do? Because this is the salvation of Israel. Save us. He's going to put the laws in our hearts. He's going to bless us and multiply us. We're going to have the New Testament, so we're going to keep the laws. Right? And then what's he going to do? And then the Lord thy God will put all these curses upon our enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecute thee. And thou shalt return and obey the voice of the Lord, and do all his commandments which I commanded thee this day. And that's the kingdom of heaven. And the Lord thy God will make thee plenteous in every work of thine hand, and in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy land, for good. For the Lord will again rejoice over thee for good, as he rejoiced over thy fathers. If thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his statutes and his commandments and statutes which are written in this book of the law, and if thou turn unto the Lord thy God with all thine heart, with all thy soul, for this commandment which I commanded, this commandment which I command this day, it is not hidden from thee, neither is it afar off. But the point is, Moses prophesied, look, man, this is what's going to happen. And this prophecy has yet to be completed. Even though at this time we are calling to mind the blessings and the curses among the nations, we haven't yet been gathered together and put back into the land and been blessed in the land and have the laws, have our hearts circumcised and the laws put within us, and the other nations, our enemies, have not yet had the curses placed upon them. This is all still pending. So I don't know what you're talking about. This hasn't happened already. And this is all the way back in Deuteronomy. So what the hell are you talking about? This has not been fully completed. Yahawah is going to complete this. See, you people, man. This is Luke 1:68. Blessed be the Lord God of Israel, for he hath visited and redeemed his people, and hath raised up an horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David, as he spoke by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began. So the prophets have always spoken of the last days, have spoken of the kingdom of heaven since the world began. So I don't know what the hell you're talking about. That we, as I just read in Deuteronomy, should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us, to perform the mercy promised to our fathers and to remember his holy covenant. Well, the mercy is written right here all the way back in Deuteronomy, that the Lord was going to gather us back. Alright? And he was going to circumcise our heart. That's the mercy. Yeah, and I guarantee you, check this out. If I go to Deuteronomy 30:6 and I look up the treasury of knowledge, man, I bet you that it's going to lead you to, hold on, crop. See what we got there. You see, they cross-reference Deuteronomy 30 with Ezekiel, because Ezekiel prophesied of the same thing. Let's get that. They also cross-reference it with all kind of scriptures in the New Testament, because it's all to the fulfillment of that. Yeah? But you see what they've tried to do there, look, they didn't put the new covenant, because that's what the new covenant is. The new covenant is our hearts being circumcised, man. See, we gotta come round and fix up your shoddy work, Esau. Alright, heart of flesh, to Ezekiel 36. And then let me get Jeremiah 31. In fact, let me see if they link Jeremiah 31 from Jeremiah 31. This is Ezekiel 36:26. Now, check this out. You see how it all link up, star. Ezekiel 36:22. Therefore, say unto the house of Israel, thus saith the Lord God, I do not this for your sakes, O house of Israel, but for my holy name's sake, which ye have profaned among the heathen whither ye went. And I will sanctify my great name, and which was profaned among the heathen, which this hasn't happened yet, my man, which ye have profaned in the midst of them, and the heathen shall know that I am the Lord, saith the Lord, when I shall be sanctified in you before their eyes. And what does the scripture say? Sanctify them by thy truth, thy word is truth. The purpose of the gospel, the true gospel, is to sanctify the Israelites, that they may be saved. So if you're talking about listen, Christianity is not the truth, man. The truth is for Israelites. The sanctification is for Israelites. It's in the scriptures, it's in the prophecy. For I will take you, who? The house of Israel, no one else, from among the heathen, and gather you out of all countries. Did that ring a bell? Does that ring a bell to what we read in Deuteronomy? Did not the Lord say he coming to gather together his elect from the four corners of the earth, and will bring you into your own land? That's not happened yet. Then will I sprinkle clean water upon you, and ye shall be clean from all your filthiness and from all your idols, which I cleanse you. A new heart also will I give you. This is the New Testament. And a new spirit will I put within you, and I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you an heart of flesh, and I will put my spirit within you, and cause you to walk in my statutes, and ye shall keep my judgments, and do them. And ye shall dwell in the land that I gave your fathers, and ye shall be my people, and I will be your God. I will also save you from your uncleanlinesses, and I will call for the corn, and will increase it, and lay no famine upon you. Now, let's link that with Jeremiah 31. Jeremiah, in fact, let me just double check, see if they were smart enough to link that cross-reference. See, they're trying to hide from that. Look at that. They're trying to hide from that. That's blatantly linked with Jeremiah 31. But they're trying to hide. Nah, I'll do it. Oh man, look at that. Jeremiah 31 and 11. Redeemed. The Lord hath redeemed Jacob. When did that happen? It's going to happen. Jeremiah 31 and 31. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will make a new covenant. Right? Remember, the old covenant was when Moses sprinkled the blood, and the agreement was made with the children of Israel that they should keep the laws, and if they keep the laws, they'll receive the blessings, and if they don't keep the laws, they'll receive the curses. That's the old covenant with the laws written on stone. The Lord said there was going to be a new covenant, which Moses already spoke about in Deuteronomy 30. The Lord put in the laws in their minds, circumcising their hearts. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. So that's both kingdoms. Yeah, all Israel. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was an husband unto them, saith the Lord. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord. I will put my law in their inward parts. Has this happened yet? No. And will write it in their hearts, and will be their God, and they shall be my people, and they shall teach no more every man his neighbor. Who's your neighbor? Israelites. Because the scripture tells you in Isaiah the 2nd chapter that Israel is going to be teaching the other nations the law. Don't play with us, man. And that's not happened yet. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, Know the Lord, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith the Lord, for I will forgive their iniquity. Well, how the Lord gonna forgive them? Through the sacrifice of his son. Right? Luke 1 and 73. The oath which he sware to our father Abraham, that he would grant unto us that we, being delivered out of the hand of our enemies, might serve him without fear, in holiness and righteousness before him all the days. Right? Now, we go down to Luke 1 and 77. To give knowledge of a salvation unto his people by the remission of their sins. Okay? The remission of their sins, so they can be forgiven their iniquity, and I'll remember their sin no more. Yeah? So then we go from there. That's the New Testament, that's the circumcision of the heart of Israel, which goes back into Ezekiel 36, which goes back into Deuteronomy the 30th chapter, all the way back to the Torah. Promises, prophecies, which haven't been fulfilled yet, which is going to be fulfilled in Yahawah. Now, we go to the cross-references. They should cross-references right to Hebrews. Oh, look. Oh, my, look. You see what happened just now? Check that out. Deuteronomy 30 and 6 is right here. You see, when you're using Deuteronomy 30 and 6, they didn't send you to Jeremiah 31. Yeah? They didn't send you to Jeremiah 31. But when you're in Jeremiah 31, right? And you hit the cross reference, this damn mouse. See, Satan, man. Damn, see that? Cross reference. See, you don't want to load now? Alright, no worries. I'm very persistent. Right? See, when you're here, behold the days, they don't give you all that, right? When we went down to the bottom, where was I? Was I here? There we go. They give you Deuteronomy 30 and 6. Yeah? You see that? You see that? Look, man, we know what we're talking about. Right? We know what we're talking about. I need to get... Surely they must link this up with Hebrews 8. Yeah, Hebrews 8 and 10. So let's get Hebrews 8 and 10. Let's start from 7. Hebrews 8 says, for if that first covenant had been faultless, then should no place have been sought for the second. For finding fault with them, the Israelites, he saith, behold, the day is come, saith the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because they continued not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, saith the Lord. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord. I will put my laws in their mind and write them in their hearts, and I will be to them a God, and they shall be to me a people. And they shall not teach every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know the Lord, for all shall know me from the least to the greatest. For I will be merciful to their unrighteousness, and their sins and their iniquities will I remember no more. In that he saith a new covenant, he hath made the first old, that which decayeth and waxeth old is ready to vanish away. And who is the New Testament, the covenant made with? Israel. And it goes all back to what Moses promised the children of Israel in the book of Deuteronomy. Good night. You're done, Eddie. So if that, I'm going to say shalom.